All right, so I just got an email from my buddy Quist, who makes these incredible jam tracks. And he just sent me a jam track that he just wrote, and so I've never heard it. The world has never heard it. And more on Quist in just a minute. But what I wanted to do was play that and just improvise something in real time, having never heard it before, and put that out as a lesson. I have no idea what the song is or what the tempo is or anything, but I wanted to just see what comes out. I can't promise that it'll be great, but I thought this would be a great sort of real-world example of how you can improvise having never heard something before. And so anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play that now. I did see that the file had A minor. I saw that in the title, so I know it's an A minor, but other than that, I don't know anything about it. So let me play that, and then we'll talk about what's going on. All right, so there you go, one take, and I actually was pretty happy with that. There wasn't any major mistakes in it. It actually ended up being much better than I thought. I wasn't sure, I set this thing up thinking, okay, I can just improvise, but then as I got into it, I didn't know what the chords were going to be. It could have been, Quist could have thrown some curveballs in there, but he kept to a pretty straight, standard sort of minor key blues thing, which was fairly predictable. And so the point of this lesson is to explain what's going on and the thought process behind it and kind of talk through the chords. I'm going to play the jam track here in a minute, and we're going to talk through that. And I'm also going to break down everything that I played note for note. So I've got that on a playback, and I'll be able to listen to it, and we'll kind of talk it all through. I want you to be able to do this. That's the point. So this jam track will be something that you can download if you're a premium member. You can access the jam track, and then you can try this, everything we're going to talk through, and you can practice playing what I'm playing because I'm going to provide the tab for that as well. So if you want those extra materials, you can get those by going to ActiveMelody.com, go to the weekly lessons page and do a search for EP576. But in this video, we're going to break it all down. I'll explain where all the notes come from. And one other little thing I want to mention before we put the jam track on is Quist is the one that wrote this jam track and provided it. He is an amazing musician all around. He creates these great jam tracks. I've got links to his description, or links in the description below to his YouTube channel and his Spotify and whatever else I can think to sort of link to there. But anyway, he and I have done these collaborations on and off through the years, and they're always super popular. And I just think he's one of the best in terms of writing really creative and clever jam tracks that really have a lot of soul and a lot of depth to them. So definitely check out Quist if you're not familiar with his stuff. He's great. And thank you to you, Quist, for providing this. All right, let's listen to this jam track and talk that through. Okay, so now we're going to do a quick overview, and I'm just going to kind of talk through the chords that's going on here. So I can tell it's in a minor key, and I knew it was an A minor. So look at this. Here's the first thing. We're going to look at A minor triad in 3 positions. I'll put a lesson up where I go through these triads, which I just did a few weeks ago. So those are the 3 positions of A minor, where I can do lead stuff in any of those areas. That's kind of how I think of it. Now it goes to the minor 4 chord. So it's a D minor, and I've got kind of 2 spots I can do that. We'll go back to the 1 chord. So I'll explain kind of how I started building a lead out of that in just a minute. So now it goes to the 5 chord. I wasn't sure what he was going to do for the 5 chord. He played that chord. I wasn't sure what that was, at least not in real time. That I could tell was the minor 5, which was our E minor, and then back to the 1. That chord I wasn't sure what it was. It's an F major 7. I had to kind of work that out after the fact. But it doesn't matter when you're improvising. So check this out. Now I can start off by just arpeggiating those triads. Right? Those are going to sound great. Look at this. This is an embellishment. This 9. Add 9 there. It's a great thing you can add to that minor chord. So here's the D. minor. So stair step shape, or I could just play the key of the song. Just do the Albert King stuff. That's just minor pentatonic scale pattern 2. So it doesn't even matter what the chords are. I can just always stay in the key of the song. That's what most blues guys do. So right now I'm just minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. But it sounds better if you can highlight the chords as they pass by. If you can at least hit a few notes out of them. That's the whole key to the key to the whole thing to make it really sound good. So check this out. Let me try one more time through. So there's your minor little arpeggio. There's my minor 4. Look at this. I hit that triad. See how much better that sounds to be intentional on that one spot? You could just do it in one spot. Then you can go back to the key of the song. Now here's a trick for the 5 chord. If you're not sure, hit this note, because it's the 5th interval of your chord, and it's going to work over whatever your 5 chord option is. That's one of the things that I've just kind of picked up through the years for the 5 chord. So there it is again. Okay, so now let's listen to what I actually played the first time through when I was improvising over it, and we'll break it down piece by piece. Okay, so here's what I played. It goes like this. 2, 3. All right, let's just look at that. Now, this is what we pretty much already, what I explained in just a minute ago, which is I was just arpeggiating the chords. I wasn't really sure where this thing was going. I knew it was in A minor, and I could tell the tempo because there's a little click track to sort of set it up. But I didn't come in right on the 1. You don't want to come in on the 1 when you're improvising something like this because you don't know where things are going. You don't know the dynamics yet. So as soon as the song started, it was 1, 2. I came in on a 2. So for those of you that are playing along with a jam track, you'll notice that that first note that we're sliding into is on the 2. Now I'm coming up to this A note, which is the 7th fret 4th string, and where I'm at mentally is here, A minor in the E minor shape, and I'm thinking of minor pentatonic scale pattern 1, which lives in there. And then I've got those triads, which I explained. So 1 is like the bottom part of this E shape, and then the top, or the lower and the upper. I explained those in that lesson. I'll put that lesson up on the screen again. It goes into detail on major and minor triads in 3 main positions. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then watch this. I'm just playing that triad, the lower triad that's in this E minor, or in this E shape, I should say. So it's 4, 3, 4, 3, 2. Those are the string numbers. Wait, and then that's the same cadence, but now we're going to be on strings 2 and 1. So I'm just borrowing the first 2 strings on the 5th fret and playing 2, 1, 2, 1. And then the embellishment, which is that 7th fret 1st string. And that note would be like an A minor 9. So it gives you that A minor 9 sound, which sounds kind of like that. It's really cool embellishment. I don't think of it as a 9. I mean, that's what it is. But I just sort of know that sound, and I know how to get to that sound off of this easy to play triad, which is a 1-finger minor triad. It's so easy. It's just right there. So anytime I'm playing a minor chord that's sort of ringing out for a while, I'll probably do that. There's a good odds. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. You can hear the cadence of that. It's just triads. There's no real scale stuff that's happening yet. Okay, so this next lick goes. I love this. And all I'm doing is I'm going from pattern 1 of my minor pentatonic scale into pattern 2. And I'm going from this A note here up to this one. It's the same note. And that's a very common, this is like a great little takeaway idea for those of you that are looking for licks and ideas for improvising in the blues, because this happens all the time. You take your minor pentatonic scale, this note from your minor pentatonic scale pattern 1, you hit it and then you slide into that same exact note in pattern 2 of your minor pentatonic scale. It's just done all the time. I mean, how often have you heard that? And sometimes you'll hear guys in like the old swing stuff going, that kind of thing. But it's the same concept of hitting this note, then sliding into that same note on the second string. And what that allows you to do, it puts you in a new position to do something else. Now that I'm down here, I have notes above that. I have those notes. If I'm playing it here, I don't have anything above it. That's why you want to be able to reposition and get into that new position. So that lick goes. It's 2 half bends on the 7th fret first string. Don't do a full bend. It's like this. You're trying to hit the note that's 1 fret above where you're starting, because that's in your minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. If you go too far, it's going to sound wrong. So just down to 5th fret first string, and then 8th fret second string, back to the 5th fret first string to hit that A note, and then there's the slide into that same note on the 10th fret second string. And once I slid up to this A note up here, this 10th fret second string, I just stayed on that note. Because I could tell the song, I could tell from the jam track that there was a little drum fill. We were building up to whatever the next chord was. I assumed it would be the minor 4 chord, just because that's kind of the vibe. And I know Quist sort of style, so I assumed that's where we were going. But if I was wrong, as long as I stayed in the key of the song and stayed in the minor pentatonic scale, I would probably be playing the right note. I would probably be playing a note that works okay. So anyway, I just was anticipating that minor 4 chord. And as soon as I heard it, I could verify that and play something that sort of matches that. And so what I hit was the 8th fret first string. Now, even though the song has gone to the D minor chord here, I'm not really doing anything D minor yet. I'm still just staying in the key of the song. I'm just playing A minor pentatonic scale pattern 2. Right, so I'm about to go into some D minor stuff, but I haven't yet, because I'm still kind of working it out in my head, I guess. So, and to me, that's got that Otis Rush kind of vibe. It's kind of got that, you know, he would take the minor triad chord and play it and like give it a lot of vibrato. That's a very common thing. So now the song is staying on that D minor chord, and I play this. Let's look at that. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a slide, playing strings 1 and 2, starting here on the 8th fret and sliding up to the 10th fret. Now here's where I went mentally. I went to this, a D minor triad. Hopefully a light bulb went off for somebody and you go, oh yeah, okay, I can see that. So the song is now on the D minor part, and I've got that triad right there. It's the 1-finger triad, super easy to play, right? There's my D minor using the E, or my D chord using the E shape, and then I've got my minor chord in there and all that, my minor triad. So when I slid into it like that, that's what I was doing. I was sliding into position. Now I only played strings 1 and 2, but that's enough, right? That's enough to hint at that. So from there I went, and I put my ring finger up here on the 13th fret second string while I hit the 10th fret first string like this. Now, why would I come up to this? Here's what I was thinking about. Remember, we're playing over the D minor stuff. So in my head, I was seeing D minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. Now, if it's a song where the chord lasts for a long time, like if it's hanging, you're on an A minor for a while, then you're on a D minor for a while, you can actually kind of switch keys since there's a longer amount of time to hang out on that chord. And I could play D minor, minor pentatonic scale stuff for a moment there, a little moment in time. You can do that. And that's kind of what I'm doing when I'm doing this. I'm thinking D minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. Now after that, I played the 12th fret first string. This is getting out of the D minor. So notice that moment didn't last very long. Now I'm back to A minor pentatonic scale stuff. So there's a quick, after that 12th fret first string, there's a pull off between the 11th fret and the 10th fret on the first string. And then we're gonna go 13th fret second string down to the 10th fret second string. So, isn't that a cool lick over your D minor? And you can kind of picture where that's coming from, right? Minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. I realize that this note isn't in there, but that's getting in, your ear will kind of work these things out over time. Like you'll kind of just remember licks. That is the lick that works, in that situation. And you'll just kind of remember that. I don't know, have a better excuse or a better explanation than that. That's how it works for me anyway. I'm just explaining how it works for me. So you have, so there's a full bend after that. After we played that, there's a full bend on this 13th fret second string, and then released and come all the way down to the 10th fret second string. And then we do another full bend on that 13th fret second string. And then you come back to the 13th fret second string and just play that note. So now what is that? Well, the song, if you listen, the jam track at that point goes back to the A minor. And so at this point, I've switched now. We're not in D minor stuff anymore. We don't have that. We're not in that territory. So now I'm thinking A minor pentatonic scale pattern 3, because that's just where I was. It's not like I intentionally sought out to go to pattern 3. I was just already there doing that D minor stuff. And it's like, now the truth is, my brain and your brain won't always be thinking patterns and scales and note names. It all comes down in the end. This is the biggest takeaway probably in this whole lesson. If you can remember this one idea, it's the sounds. And once you get the sounds, so I knew when I was on the second string, I don't even care where I'm on the fretboard. I just know when I'm on the second string, if I can do a full bend, and I can know what that sounds like off of that A chord, off of the chord I'm playing off, I know where I'm at based on the sound, not a visual thing or a mental thing. It's just the sound. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I know I'm in this area. And it's kind of weird. The more of it you do, the more, and there's not that many positions. The neck repeats itself. There's only 5 chunks of it all, and then it just repeats itself. So it's not like you have infinite options. So while we're hanging out on the A minor, I came down and went, nothing clever there at all. That's just A minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. So it's the 8th fret second string down to the 5th fret second string. And then we do 3 bends here on the 7th fret third string, full bends. The trick, though, is putting the vibrato at the top of the bend. That's a tricky thing. I talk about this a lot, and I just remember going back in the years of me trying to learn to play stuff, trying to put a vibrato at the top of a bend. I remember spending a lot of time doing that, and so I know it looks easy when someone does it, and I know it's not. But if you just keep working on it, it's all in the grip, and it comes into muscles right here. This is how it works for me anyway. There's a muscle right here that I had to kind of tap into to be able to do that. To hold the position and then kind of release it enough. It's tricky. Okay, so after that lick, I played this. So it's another half bend here on the 7th fret 3rd string with a release. It's actually a pre-bend. You bend it before you play anything. And then release it and play down here on the 5th fret 3rd string. This is all just A minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. And then another full bend here on the 7th fret 3rd string. Match that note. Here's another like match the note kind of thing, where we bend to this note and then we play that same note that we bent to, which is the 5th fret 2nd string. So and then this is where the song goes to the 5 chord. And there's different ways. I didn't know what he was going to do for the 5 chord. I knew that was coming, but the 5 chord could have just been this. Like an E7 and then back to the A, that A minor. That would have totally worked. But what he ended up doing was this. An F major 7, very interesting choice, Quist. And then an E minor and then back to the 1. I had no idea that was coming, but as long as I stay in the key of the song, pretty much gonna be safe. So this is what I played. So notice where I'm at. I'm in that safe zone that I talked about. When you're on the 5 chord, you can pretty much always count on this note. So connect that in your mind to the chord shape of the key of the song, right? So in this case, if you're in A, it's the 5th fret 2nd string. And so what I ended up playing was, so it's 2 half then there on that 5th fret 2nd string. And then 5th fret to the 7th fret on the 3rd string. And then I'm gonna bar and play strings 4 and 3 at the same time on the 5th fret and do a hammer on to the 7th fret 3rd string. Now that's just, I'm sorry, 7th fret 4th string. That's just an embellishment that's being played out of my A minor pentatonic scale. That lick is. This half bend here, I wasn't really sure where that came from, honestly. I could hear that sound. I knew there was the F major 7 chord. I didn't know what the chord was. I knew that was like a non-conventional chord, but I don't care what the chords are. I don't even care what the notes are because I'm listening for the sound, and I was listening for, I didn't want this. That's too far. But I could hear something with this note. Right? And so I just bent into it. And again, this is one of those things that the more of it you do, now you've got this little lick, you're not maybe sure where it's coming from yet, but you will over time, you'll know how to use it. It's like, actually I played it like this. And then after that I played. Easy lick to play. Let me show you what I'm playing here. We're going 5-7 on the 4th string, sliding up to the 9th fret 4th string. And then while that note rings out, we play the 7th fret 3rd string. Slide back down to the 7th fret, 5th fret. All of that was pretty much on the 4th string, except for that note. And then I played the 7th fret 5th string. And that's where we played over the E minor part. Remember, it went from an F major 7 to an E minor. And for that E minor, once I heard that, I knew this. And so what I'm playing there, if you analyze it, it's really E minor pentatonic scale pattern 4. And so I just kind of, but again, I wasn't thinking I need to go to pattern 4. I wasn't thinking of that. I was listening for a sound. And so from this minor, I wanted to go into this. You can hear that sound, even though it was a minor chord actually. But I could hear that E sound. And that's what I played. So anyway, that's why it worked. And I just kind of pivoted from where I was. And that's the key to the whole thing when you're improvising, is wherever you're at, You don't have to go hunting for something. The answer is always right beside where you're at. Always. It doesn't matter what style, what key, what tempo, any of that. The answer to what you're looking for is never more than a fret away from where you're at. I'll put a lesson up on the screen where I talk into more detail about that very concept. But that sound, that E sound that I wanted to play over that E minor was right there. And I just had to slide until I got it, until I locked in. I didn't even know what that was until after the fact. And then to get out of it, I went like this. Watch this. Just came down and played an A minor down here. So quick slide down to the 5th fret, 5th string, 3rd fret, 5th string, and then our open 5th string, which is our A note. And then I can put my hand in position and play my A minor chord in first position. And I notice I took my index finger off, just a little embellishment off the chord. And then I played the top part of the chord like this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1. Those are the string numbers. Just an A minor chord. So you don't always have to be doing scale stuff. If you know the chords, if you know where they are, just play the chords, arpeggiate the chords. That always sounds good because it's the absolute correct notes. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. There's actually not a part 2 video for this week, but there is the tablature for everything that I just played through, and there's also the MP3 jam track, which is an awesome jam track, courtesy of Quist, top-notch jam track. And so you can have access to those things by going to ActiveMelody.com. Just remember to go to the weekly lessons page, which is a link at the top, and then you can scroll down until you find, or do a search for EP576, and then that's the lesson for this. Leave a comment on wherever you're watching this video, and let me know if you like this video, if you've picked up some ideas. I always appreciate those comments. And then also leave a comment if you're confused about anything or have questions on anything. I do read them all and I try and answer them all. All right, we'll see you next week for something new.